we were at Disney World in June of 2006, and everything was fine and everything, and I guess Brittany was feeling fine and everything and stuff, and I guess she was just experiencing a little bleeding or whatever. And that was, didn't think much of it. So when we got home, I just kind of called the doctor and mentioned that to her. And she's like, well, and then it had stopped. So she's like, well, if it starts up again or continues, let me know. And it didn't until August 2006.
Brittany is how old now? She's 16?
17.
17. Oh, then I've known her since she was probably, if I do the math correctly, about 4 or so. And so, and I've been seeing her, looking back in her chart since she was about that age. And so I did some blood work on her, and I also did order an ultrasound of her kidneys. So that same day, her mother took her for the blood work, and over the course of the next 3-4 days, we got some of those results back. And at that time, we weren't quite sure what was going on because none of the blood work really led to a diagnosis. But 4 days later, she did end up getting that ultrasound, and the ultrasound, unlike the blood work, actually visualized her kidneys.
They called me, and I was actually at a shoe store looking for shoes after work, and it said that they found a growth or a mass.
We see a mass on her kidney on the right side. So all the red flags came up, and at that point things were just very fast moving, and we had to get her in to see a specialist right away.
And at that point, I completely forgot about that she had an appointment and had the ultrasound. I'm like, what? So I at that point prayed a little bit and said, okay. And I asked the doctors, well, she'd like to follow up with another test. I was like, okay, no problem. When? Tonight.
I knew something was wrong, but at the time I didn't know it was cancer, and I don't think they really wanted to tell me straight up, because then I probably would have acted differently than I did.
And then that following Wednesday is when they said she had to be back for surgery because they were going to look at the kidney, and they ended up taking out the one kidney.
Kidney cancer is different from many other cancers in that if you're fortunate enough to have it detected early, then it's a procedure of just removing the tumor, and typically they'll remove the entire kidney, not just the tumor itself.
The second surgery, they got most of the cancer mass, the tumor with the kidney, but it had spread just a little bit to a couple lymph nodes. So that was the second surgery, entailed going in and taking out those lymph nodes.
Actually, the second surgery ended up being far worse than the first, or potential of being bad, because 2 of the lymph nodes were actually on the main artery wall, going down her main, one of the 2 arteries, and they had to peel them off. So that's why they didn't take care of them the first surgery. They have to peel them off, and depending on how sticky they were from the surgeon, he says if they're really sticky, they can pull the artery wall with it, and she'd bleed to death in 2 minutes.
If you don't catch it early, and if it has spread through many lymph nodes or into the chest or other areas of the body, unlike other cancers, it doesn't respond well to chemotherapy or to radiation. And so if it's caught late, there's very high mortality, meaning a lot of people will die from this type of cancer.
After that second surgery, they said they got all the cancer out, and luckily she never needed chemo or radiation treatment or anything like that.
Eventually, they went to going back once a year, and then they told me that I don't have to have any more CT scans this past year, because they said that it's been 6 years and there's really not a chance that it'll come back then.
I just thought, well, we're going to get through this, and she'll be okay. It might be a long run. I didn't know how long, it would take from this to recover, but no, I thought she'll be fine.
Yeah, same thing. The second one, because I realized what could go wrong, I think that my mind was more focused on possibly losing her. And knowing our faith is so strong, is she'd be with God, so she wouldn't be in pain, but we'd miss her a lot. So either way, I think it was okay. But let's say, hey, if she wants her around to do other things, then he'll keep her here.
So this was my first, I hope it's my only in my lifetime that we ever diagnosed this in a child. It's very, very rare.
I think it can show people that having cancer or having surgery, it shouldn't slow you down, and you can pretty much do anything you want. If I had to say something to the kids of St. Jude's, I would say to keep fighting, because there are so many things you can experience and accomplish, and it just feels so good to get to accomplish those things.